In your dreams, everything is alright. In your schemes, you can only try. And that's all any of us can do. Try. Try to make people realise that they're not living on a spinning ball, but not by going up to them and grabbing hold of the shoulders and shaking them and saying fucking not that. That doesn't work. Probably. I haven't tried it. I'd like to sometimes on some people, but I know that it's a pointless and probably quite scary or offensive or abusive even method. No. The best way is just to say things like, "Oh, right, so have you ever thought about water bending and clinging to the bottom of a ball as it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour?" Just things like that, that is a bit clunky. But things like that, just to get people thinking. But everybody, well, I say everybody, most people now have heard of the flat Earth. Even if they don't accept it, it's there, it's out there. And just like the aliens thing I was on about a while back, if you mentioned aliens, I've seen an alien, or I was abducted by aliens 20, 30 years ago, people would have thought you were off your rocker. But now, because of people like Brian Cox, people are more able, I suppose, to accept the fact that aliens would probably exist. Now, okay, I can't rule aliens out, but they don't come from outer space or the far distant galaxies. That's obviously ridiculous. But they may come from elsewhere, over there, where the places we're not allowed to go to. Just see if you can get under your own steam. See if you can get beyond Antarctica, or to Antarctica even, and you won't do it. And see if you can get to the North Pole. See if you can do it. I'd love to go. I'd love to try and go. And I don't mean on one of these ridiculous tourist vessels. These package holidays where you can go to the North Pole, because you don't actually go to the North Pole. Just like I don't know whether you saw it, the people, well, I know Top Gear was supposedly sold all around the Earth, but there was one of the episodes where they actually went, so they said, to the North Pole. Two of them in cars, Toyota pickups, and one of them, the presenters, on a dog sled. Yeah, of course it was all utter bullshit, and that's what television brings you. It's bullshit. The influence it has, I don't think can be measured. It's vast, it's massive. It affects all of us. The only people it wouldn't affect are people who have never had a telly, have never seen a telly. And I don't know whether even somebody like that exists. Maybe. I mean, in this country, or North America, maybe. But then, I've got this yeah, view or imagination, I suppose. I imagine that some old hillbilly up in a mountain somewhere in America doesn't have a television, doesn't have electricity. But that's just my fantasy. But I hope it's true. So they won't be affected. But that's a very, very tiny, tiny minority of the people. Television has got us all, has had us all, and even now I'm still influenced by telly. Of course I am. I can't not remember Mr. Spock's pointy ears. Come on. But like people who know the Earth's flat often say, and certainly know, that we as a flat earther, me as a flat earther, we, and that's a terrible term, but there you go. We, of course, we once believed in the spinning ball, and it is a belief, and have broken that belief now, and I know that we're not living on a spinning ball, and that'll do. As far as my understanding of it goes, I understand that the globe model is totally ridiculous. And whatever we are living on, obviously the water is level throughout the earth, so that's why we're called flat earthers, I suppose. But we know the earth isn't flat. Of course not. But the water certainly is level. Now, there are people saying that flat and level are two different things. Well, yeah, I kind of get that, because this playing card here is flat, but it's not level, not at the moment. You see? So that's level. Oh, near enough. So that's where the confusion lies. But why, that's a tiny little thing. Just fucking forget that. Flat, level, what, water. Just say water, because that means to me level. If water is at rest, then it can't be anything else but level. And you could say it was flat. Now, because I live near the sea, I suppose I've heard many fishermen say, oh, it's flat calm. And what they mean by that is it's not choppy, there's no swell or little swell, no great waves, and it's like a mill pond. And there you go. A mill pond is, in my understanding, the reservoir of to work the water wheel on the mill. And the reservoir would be level as it releases the water to turn the gears. The water is going to be level no matter what. But that's not a river, it's a pond. And a pond, a lake, a loch, they're all level. And the bigger the lake, the more apparent that is. So I encourage anybody who is pondering on this subject to go out and find out for themselves. Don't read books. Don't believe anybody else. Go and find out for yourself. All knowledge is best discovered in that way, I think. Then you can believe. No, don't believe. No, don't believe. Trust your own senses, because they are fantastic. You've got the most elaborate and sensitive and extraordinary, wonderful tool, which is your brain, and the things that give information to your brain, i.e. your senses. You must trust those senses, because we're all too ready to give them up to some authority who tells us stories, and those stories are wrong. They're just stories, like Peter Pan. Well, Peter Pan, wasn't he meant to live forever or something as a child? Or yeah, I don't know that story, but not that well anyway. But do you see what I mean? It's a fantasy. Again, it's Walt Disney, and I don't want to be associated with anything to do with that. I'm kind of rambling, I know, but it is fairly early in the morning, and I have lots to do today, and I'm kind of just thinking that I should get on in the back of my mind, So I might just end it here, and I was going to do an outside broadcast, and I may just still do that. So I've just been beamed. Scotty beamed me up to a different place, and this is the place. This is the place that I've been beamed to, and you can see the beams above me. Yeah, good old Scotty. Eh? You can always rely on his transporter room antics. See you later, people.